What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, turn on your post notifications. We are back in here with a haircut tutorial. I promised y'all a haircut tutorial with the Stylecraft Rebels, and that's what we're going to get into today. We got a Dallas Shag type haircut that we're getting into. My boy is looking rough. He's throwing. He said, "Coach, put me back into the game." And I said, "I got you. You're going to come off the bench hitting numbers." So we're going to get him back in, but stay tuned.
Look, I just flipped the switch.
What's good, everybody? We're gonna jump right into this haircut tutorial. We're not gonna delay any longer. So right now we got the comb. We're using the wide tooth side of the comb, and we are just combing the hair down the way it needs to be laid. You can see here I am trying to stay cautious of the crown area and lay down the hair where it naturally wants to lay before we start cutting any hair down using our Stylecraft Rebels. Now you can see here, going and combing everywhere around the head. We got the Stylecraft Rebels in hand. We're about to use the number 2 guard to lay the hair down completely. I am going to use the number 2 guard lever open, and that's going to be our foundation for this haircut. So everything that we do is going to be blending into that 2 guard lever open on the top. And I'm going to be very cautious of the crown area, like I said. So I'm going to be taking that clipper, and we're going to be going in a circular shape around the crown to make sure that we get this hair laid down the way we want it to. Now on the back side, where we have most of the hair growth, you will see me later on just basically free shape this area. I will have that 2 guard on, but I'm going to kind of lift off the occipital bone as I travel down the back side of his head. That way we're not digging too much into that hair growth, because he is trying to grow out a shag type haircut. So that's what we're working on right now. Now at the very front of the hairline, I do close the lever to make it'll be a number 2 guard lever close on the front of the edge up area, and that is just to allow us to get a better view of what we're edging up and give us a sharper, cleaner edge up on the front. Now you can see here I'm taking my time in this crown area, and I'm combing the hair, and then I'm combing the hair and cutting, so we could lay this down nice and neat. We're not going to patch his crown area. We're not going to, take too much off that we don't need to. So that is the key detail, is just paying attention to the little things and making sure that we get a good flow all the way around with this haircut. Now, like I said right there on that back shag area, I'm kind of lifting off the occipital bone as I go down, because I don't want to dig into it. I don't want to take too much hair off that area. So I'm just going to pick it out so we can get that look to the haircut, that shag look. Now I know, there's many different types of shag type haircuts. Like, some people do a low taper, some people do a high taper, and so on. But for this specific haircut, I am going to do a high taper. So I'm making my guideline, and I have a circular shape that I'm making with that Babyliss FX trimmer. And then so we balled that out using the Andis Profile shaver, and we're going to go ahead and continue on with this haircut, laying down our fade work. So I have the Stylecraft Pro Rebels right there, and we're going to have a lever open, make a panel of hair to fade into, and then I close the lever, and then we're going to go ahead and begin our fade work. So for this section right here, the Stylecraft Pros have a 5-click lever system. So it is a click lever, so it has 5 clicks. 2 clicks is going to be, 3 clicks is going to be your midpoint, and then there's 2 clicks before that, and then 2 clicks after that, until you have the lever fully extended. So I'm just traveling up that click system and just edging up. Not edging up, but I'm just detailing areas using the corner of my blade. I'm using the first few teeth of the blade to do this circular area of our taper. Now, because it's such a small area to fade, that's why I'm using just the corners of my blade, because you really don't want to use a full blade on this area, because you might take too much hair off, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a good blend, detail this blend, and as you can see here, I'm playing with that lever and making sure that we get this area completely blended out. Now I'm going to constantly brush the hair down, because as my blade travels upwards against the grain of the hair, it is going to push the hair up. So by using the comb or the brush, whatever you want to use, a comb or a brush, to lay the hair back down, so your clipper can go back against the grain and get that taken care of. Now we have the 1 guard lever close, creating another panel of hair to fade into. Then I will get my 1/2 guard lever close, and we'll start lever playing and fading this panel of hair out. So 1 click up, fade a little bit, 1 click up, fade a little bit, until the blade is completely open. And once you do get the blade completely open and you see little areas that you want to detail, what you can do is just lever play, find that sweet spot that you need to get those little dark areas blended out. And that's what I'm doing here. As you can see, I'm playing with that lever to make sure that we get the right amount of blade open that we need to get those details. Now once we get all this taken care of, we are going to jump up to our 1.5 guard lever close and create another panel of hair to fade into. Now, like I say, whenever you are fading, well, for me personally, I use the same process for every type of fading or blending, whether it be a high taper, low taper, mid fade, low fade. I'm going to use the same process, and that's the process I'm using to fade right now. So we had that 1.5 guard lever closed. Now we have a 1 guard back on there, and we're going to begin to lever play. Open the lever slightly, fade up, open the lever slightly, fade up, until you have that lever completely open in that panel and getting that panel completely faded out. Now you can see here the blend is starting to come together. This is a high taper, like I said, and we're going to get the side hair, that taper area, blended to the top hair, and we're going to have to start blending at that parietal ridge and get that hair blended into the side that we tapered. As you can see here, we're brushing the hair down. I have that number 2 guard on, lever closed, and we're creating another panel of hair to fade into. Then we will revert back to that 1.5 guard and begin to lever play and get this area faded out. Now for me, I think that high tapers are what I tend to lean towards as far as wave cuts, because I feel like you get a more extended blend, and it's a blurrier blend because of how much space you have to fade. It's all preference. Some people like a low taper, some people like a mid taper, some people like a high taper. But for this specific client, he does like the high taper, so that's what we're going after for this cut. Now you can see I had that 1 guard, and I was just detailing little areas that I could see that weren't completely detailed yet. Now I like to detail my haircuts as we go, because I don't like to come back to the same side of the head that I already did. So that's the reason why I'm detailing as we go. So now I have that number 2 guard on, and we're lever playing and trying to fade in this hair around the parietal ridge. I'm brushing the hair down, going against the grain, brushing the hair down, going against the grain with the clipper to get this completely as smooth as we can. Now I have that 1.5 guard on, lever closed, and I'm going with the grain. I'm sorry, that's a 1.5 guard lever open, going with the grain, and I'll slowly start closing that lever until I can get a smoother transition. And you'll see me adjust the lever with my middle finger. I'm not sure if you could catch that, but I do adjust. When I'm going with the grain on that parietal ridge area with wave cuts, I'll slowly start dropping the lever down, trying to get a smoother blend, like I said. Now I have the number 3 guard on there, and we're just trying to detail at this parietal ridge and get it as blended as we can. Now because we used the number 2 guard lever open on the top, that will be what you use to blend out that area. So like that's a number 3. So number 2 open is slightly close to a number 3 guard, and that's what we use to blend in that top area. Now there's still some dark areas around the parietal ridge that I see, so I'm using some clipper over comb technique to get that area knocked out. Now I am thoroughly impressed with the Stylecraft Pro Rebel. I've used that clipper probably the most in the past 2 weeks than any clipper, but I'll get more into that in a second. Right now we're blending the beard, so the same steps you take to blend up on the high taper are the same steps that you're going to take to blend down. Open the lever, make a panel of hair, close the lever, slightly open, fade up or fade down until you get to that panel of hair completely faded out. Now because this is a very, very small area to blend, your panels and your guidelines are going to be a lot smaller, because you don't want to take the blend all the way down. We're just kind of blending in that sideburn area. Some clients might want you to blend further down the beard, but my specific client wants that his beard as bulky as he can. But I am taking a number 1.5 guard. We're going with the grain, and just kind of soften up any flyaways, any areas that we see that are sticking out. And then we will get the Babyliss FX trimmer. Got the 245 power clip on there, the DLC 2.0 blade, and we're just knocking at this back area of the beard, getting that nice and crispy before we continue on with the rest of the haircut. Now, by far, the Babyliss FX trimmer is my favorite trimmer at the moment. I have not used the Low Pro FX yet, the trimmers, but I did get them in the mail. I just haven't got to get to them and unbox them and use them. So as of right now, the Babyliss FX trimmer is my favorite, but we'll see this week when I use the Low Pro FX. But right here, we're edging up the back area underneath that bulk on the back. We're not going to fade in that area because this is going to be a shag-like haircut. We're going to fold the ear down and trim up around the ear and get a nice curve. We don't want to push it too high, but we want it to look like it is edged up. You don't want to just have the hair sitting on top of the ear. We are trying to get clean, precise lines. So that's why I'm folding down the ear and edging away, making that circular pattern around the ear. Now, the same thing we did to the right side, we're going to do to the left side. But like I said, the Stockcraft Pro Rebels, lots of power. I'm digging the fusion blade that it comes with. I like the fact that wall guards do fit on it because I am a wall guy. I like the wall guard system. So being able to use the wall guard system on the Stockcraft Pro is a plus for me. It gets the trimmer line out at the bottom very easily. I'm digging the fade blade that it comes with. I'm usually a taper blade guy, but the fade blade on this is dope. I'm thoroughly impressed with this clipper. It doesn't get hot. The blade doesn't get hot as quick as your some other clippers that are out there. But right now we're jumping into the facial hair edge up portion of this haircut. I have the Babyliss FX trimmer, the Lowe's Cutted Edition, and we're knocking out these edges on his goatee area of his facial hair. Now you want to be able to make very precise lines. My Babyliss FX trimmers are not zero gapped, but they do cut sharp. They are pretty close, but they're not completely zero gapped. Reason being, I'm not really a fan of having to have a very light hand, and I know that the corners of the teeth do bite if you have that completely zero gapped, and that could be dangerous to kids, elderly folk, or people with very sensitive skin. So I don't want them that close, but they do get the areas that I need to be super sharp, as you can tell. So right now I'm laying down some hairspray, and we're gonna go ahead and comb the front edge up down and let this dry. And then after that, we're gonna take our trimmers and begin our front edge up. I am gonna work my way from the middle to the side and then bridge the two together. And that's how I'm gonna knock out all my edge ups, is start from the middle, work our way to the side, and then just make sure we get a very sharp edge up. You want to be standing in front of your client, that way you could see where you're edging up. You want to see how the left side is relative to the right side, and make reference points in your head, like where you want your lines to be at. So right here, we're knocking out the vertical bars and getting it as crispy as possible. Like I said, these are not zero gap, but you can see how sharp they are cutting. You can see the detail that these trimmers are making. The lines, they are very sharp, very crispy, and this is before we even use a razor. So most of my clients, I'll say like 85-90% of my clients, I am going to be using a razor to edge up and follow that trimmer with. Even kids, the few kids that I do cut, they are already accustomed to me using a razor on them as well. But you can see this haircut is coming together. We haven't even got completely done with the edge up, but it's flowing together. I'm knocking out the underneath the beard. It's little details like this that are going to separate you from other barbers. It's taking the time to lean back your client, recline them in the chair, and take care of the facial hair underneath. Get a sharp line. These little things will go a long way, and your clients will notice. New clients will notice. Anybody that sits in your chair will notice the time you're taking, the detail that you're taking. And after I edge up underneath there, I am free shaping with the trimmer and just getting little flyaways knocked out underneath to give that beard a box shape, but keeping it bulky at the same time. Now you can see that taper is looking crispy. You know, this haircut, I did suggest this haircut to him, but he was already thinking of it, so we're kind of on the same page of where we were going with his hair. So usually, you know, he gets a 3 all the way around with a high taper on the sides and a taper on the neck and some beard work. But this is just a dope, you know, different type of hairstyle that he's trying out. He's tried out many different hairstyles, so you know, it's always good to have clients that are experimental with their hair, because you get to try new things. So using the razor to edge up, now I have the level 3, I believe this is the A-Rod edition razor holder. Got the level 3 brush and a Derby premium blades. It's the black box, if you guys are wondering what kind of blades I'm using. And we're just edging up his vertical bar and his front edge up. Now what I do to one side, we're gonna do to the other side, and then we're gonna go ahead and knock out that beard area and get that edged up nice and crispy. Little details, like I said, want to make sure that you're just paying attention to the little details. And once you get this front edge up, we're gonna go ahead and knock out that beard. So you can see my left thumb is pulling the skin the opposite direction of my blade, of where the blade is traveling, and that is because you want to have that skin nice and tight, and that way you have the smoothest shave you could have. Now he wants his beard edged up a little high because we are trying to grow that hair in up there and get it connected to the rest. You know, a lot of your clients, they have their preferences, but you also as a barber have to make your suggestions on what should be done and how it should look. And you are a professional, so you want to carry yourself as a professional, and you do have the right to give your professional opinion, but at the end of the day, it is all client preference. So for me personally, I would have edged this beard up a lot lower to have more fullness, because he is a little sparse on the cheekbone area where his beard is at. So I would edge it up predominantly where most of the hair is at. But client preference, like I said, follow what the clients are saying or asking for, or you know, come to a common ground when you're doing your haircuts. So I'm edging up in that little goatee area and making it as sharp as we can. Like I said, following up everything we use the trimmer with the razor. But that is, you know, the gist of the razor work. Like I said, you want to make sure you're stretching out that skin. Use your left thumb or your non-predominant hand to stretch that skin out the opposite direction of where the razor is traveling. But there is the cut. You can see my boy's got some waves low-key under there on the top, and you got this shag type haircut, super blurry, crispy, blurry taper, crispy lines, and not much you could ask for. I'm glad that my client, like I said, is experimental to try his haircuts. But thank you for watching this tutorial. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, turn your post notifications, give this video a like. Until next time, God bless.